Alright, I'm sticking with the naming convention of day one, but obviously it's been a little bit since I first unboxed the new iPad Air, and here it is. If you haven't seen my unboxing it, make sure you do so by hitting the link above and found down below. It's also going to be on all over my social media channels as I try to do those short videos on a lot of different places. You see, it's funny because I actually have the other iPads as well, both the Pro and the Mini, but finally I'm going to do content on one, and it's this one, the Air. I'll probably revisit those other tablets after this one for the channel, so let me know if you want to see my thoughts on the bigger one and the smaller one. But for now, let me tell you what my experience has been lately with this. Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? Here are my thoughts on the iPad Air. 5? 2022? M1? Seriously, all the naming conventions are starting to get a bit out of hand. So what we have here is mainly a spec bump, as the iPad Air still has the same body style as last year's model. I did get mine in this purple colorway though. What's funny about getting a tablet is even if it does look pretty nice, it's going to be covered up by something because cases just extend the use case scenarios. And this time I did go ahead and just splurge on the Magic Keyboard, which also came out last year. It taught me something pretty damn important. No matter what tablet it is, I definitely want to try and recreate like a laptop experience as much as possible. So my current focus will be on the iPad Air experience, but alongside those first-party accessories, including of course the Apple Pencil. So back to my general setup, yes, the Magic Keyboard I think is actually pretty dang cool. Alongside the Apple Pencil, which is up here, magnetically attached to the side for charging, these accessories all just fall in line with Apple's typical minimalistic design philosophy. As usual, there's a bit of give and take with Apple products. They do look really cool and sleek and keep things really minimal, but then they don't actually secure the tablet a whole lot. Sure, the tablet easily magnetizes onto that backing, which is awesome and can be done with the iPad Pro as well, but the whole setup means that you don't have a whole lot covering things beyond the screen. The pencil can easily come off the side when taking the whole setup out of a bag since it's relying on that side magnet and it's not secured in any other way. I am glad that the Magic Keyboard will work with my iPad Pro, which is likely where it'll go while this iPad Air goes to maybe my parents or something. I have to say, the typing is pretty great though. I wrote this whole script using this and Notion, and you get a touchpad, which is a nice addition even if I find myself reaching for the touchscreen most of the time. I will admit though that iPad OS does have a rather hard time unifying experiences. It's not necessarily the operating system's fault, it's more about the apps. You know which ones I'm talking about. We all know about Instagram still being a weird vertical app only, but then TikTok is now a mixed bag too, because even if it introduced a landscape-friendly viewing interface, it locks to portrait when posting. I was hoping the Magic Keyboard would help make the iPad my go-to place for posting social media content. You know, make the content on my MacBook and then airdrop it to this iPad, use the keyboard for captions on the Magic Keyboard, but clearly it's just far from perfect in those particular situations. As illustrated by the fact that the cutout on the Magic Keyboard is big enough to accommodate the camera bump on the iPad Pro, there's just one shooter on the rear of the iPad Air. Admittedly, I haven't used this a whole lot, but what I have done is take video calls using the front-facing camera and it worked really well. A little too well actually, because the center stage feature on this pretty damn wide camera kept zooming into me, which is fine, but then it kept noticing anyone behind me and going really wide, even if they were like 5 feet in the background. It was honestly a little funny, but something to keep in mind. So from work to fun, I have enjoyed using this Magic Keyboard as a stand for viewing things on a table and whatnot, but for like in-bed enjoyment, it's usually just best to take it off the magnet and just hold things like this while lying down. No matter what I've been viewing on the tablet, however, it's been a nice experience. The screen is comfortable at this 11 inches size and vibrant enough for watching YouTube and Apple TV+. Even if there are fewer speakers on here compared to the iPad Pro, it still sounds pretty good, even though you might cover it up a little bit when you're actually using it in landscape. And when I'm just viewing content, I don't really feel like I'm missing out because the screen is only a 60Hz refresh rate screen. Where that does come up is, of course, in gaming. I actually look forward to using iPads once in a while because it's the way that I try to get back into Genshin Impact. After all, it's only through Apple that it has controller support. I just need a wired connection for the Backbone 1, and I'm off to do some quests and off to do some polls. Now as you can see here, performance in the game is great, as it should be, with the M1 processor inside. But of course, the one thing that I can't enjoy is the higher frame rate setting. So Genshin Impact, that level of gaming, is the most intensive thing I've done so far on the iPad Air. And aside from feeling some warmer temperatures on certain portions of the backing, I haven't had any other issues at all. So it kind of begs the question of what the M1 is really doing in this iPad Air. Well, I've had some time to think about it, and I've come to a couple of light conclusions. First off, it seems to me that Apple is kind of mirroring the iPad lineup with the MacBook lineup from when the M1 first came out. After all, you have the MacBook Pro 13 as the M1, which actually convinced me to try that platform for work, and then right alongside that you have the MacBook Air, with the same processor and just a few concessions. The same thing is, I feel, happening with the iPads right now. The Pro has the high refresh rate screen, better speakers, and the USB-C port is also Thunderbolt enabled. Meanwhile, you have the iPad Air that will provide almost exactly the same high performance because of the M1, but it doesn't have all of those bells and whistles that I just mentioned. I will say though, one thing I actually prefer on the Air over the Pro is the fingerprint reader in the power button. It's just easier to use in my opinion compared to like having to move myself to try to get into the area of the Face ID of the iPad Pro so that it can finally recognize me. So depending on what you prioritize, you can find which iPad offers those things, and then you will know what you need to spend money on. I would say though that you need to really consider if the premium features on the Pro will actually be what you want, because my experience with the Magic Keyboard and the Apple Pencil has me thinking a certain way. So the iPad Pro 11, the one that is the very same size as this iPad Air with the same exact processor, is a $200 premium at the base models. Now let me say that I do hate that the base model of the iPad Air only comes in 64GB and there isn't even a 128GB option available. That's a weird and honestly frustrating difference. But to my original point, if you go for the base model iPad Pro, but you want to, let's say, complete the experience with a Magic Keyboard and Apple Pencil, you're going to end up paying a ton more. And really for what? A performance clip that will show itself best in high-powered gaming or higher forms of 3D or artist work? I really think people who want an iPad for those particular reasons aren't like super abundant. At least, most of you who are watching this video right now will probably want the bigger screen for some fun while keeping to the ecosystem that you're already in. For that reason, I think that the iPad Air is actually not a terrible deal. Again, the storage could be way better, but at least the entry point is accessible enough that even if you go for the accessories, you won't be so far down the hole financially. Meanwhile, me, as a gamer who leans somewhat more to the casual side, I might wish for the smoother experience of games like Genshin Impact from the ProMotion display. But honestly, on the iPad Air, it was far from a deal breaker and I was happily playing anyway. So really all of this just reminds me of the MacBook conversations that happened a while back with the original M1 processor. A lot of people were asking which one, Air or Pro, they should get, and in most situations I heard many of my peers say, you can just go for the Air. Save some money, you probably don't even need everything that the Pro provides anyway. And that's exactly what I'd say about the new iPad Air. So far, I feel like it slots somewhat reasonably into a tier that is just a hair below the Pro, and that might be a sweet spot for a lot of people. Alright, and just like with the last video, since I put out a short TikTok reel when it came to a certain product, let's respond to some of the comments in those videos. I know the device is much better, but unboxing is quite similar. What if you did a comparison between unboxing experience between Samsung S8 series tabs and iPads? Even beyond the unboxings, I think it would be fun to take a look at the Galaxy Tab S8, the new ones that just came out. Maybe not the Ultra because it's a bit unfair, that thing is huge compared to the iPad Air in front of me, but it would be cool to check those two out side by side. The thing is, it's going to come down to a age-old discussion that we have when it comes to Apple versus, let's say, Android or Samsung. It depends what ecosystem you're already a part of and what you really prefer. You could have just re-uploaded your unboxing footage from the last iPad Air. Well, I didn't have unboxing footage of the last iPad Air because I did not get it, so yeah, welcome to the channel and stick around and hopefully you'll remember details like that in the future. I'm here for the music. Well, that was on Instagram Reels. I can't play that music right now, obviously, because, you know, it'll get content ID'd or something like that. But shouts out to Markland Sangen. If you haven't seen his channel yet, he's a full-time YouTuber at this point. Make sure you check it out. Links above and found below. I picked up the blue one today, keyboard and pencil, good stuff. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, if you were to get the iPad Air, it's a little bit less than the iPad Pro with many of the same capabilities, but then you get a little bit of extra money left over so you can complete the experience. I mean, this Magic Keyboard really was the right thing to get when I got this iPad Air. Can it play Minecraft? I'm sure it can. There is a Minecraft version in in iPad OS, right? I don't play Minecraft though, so I won't be showing you that. OMG, finally someone does the purple. Yeah, I mean, this purple looks really nice. I mean, I'm not sure if it's coming up in the camera's too well, but every year when a new Apple product comes out, if there's like funky colors or just different ones, I like getting them. Issa usually goes for the pink edition, so I either get that if nothing else is available, but this time there was this purple edition. Now, that's the other thing about the iPad Air. It comes in more colors compared to the Pro, so if you want something a little bit more fashionable, I mean, this one it could be a choice. I'm going to get it on my birthday. Congrats. And finally, noise. Thanks, babe. And so let me go ahead and just kind of throw it back to all of you guys. What are your thoughts? I'm actually pretty satisfied with how much I talked about the iPad Air in this video, but I can come back to it to expand on other details like battery life. The thing is, I just haven't done a full battery life test yet, so let me know if you want to see that and more in the comments both here and on my social media. Links to all my profiles are in the description, and your engagement on my social media profiles is greatly appreciated because I'm trying to get more consistent on them. Of course, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and from there, I'm going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and enjoy your tea, everybody.